Hi, this is Natalie from baggagereclaim.com. Today I'm talking about, but we have so much in common, I just don't understand why it's not working or why we broke up. A lot of people think that it's really important to have a lot in common with somebody. So we go out there into the big wide world, often straight onto a dating site, and we spend an awful lot of time keying in all our favourite interests. I like the outdoors, I want to climb mountains, I want to swim, I want to do rock climbing, I want to meet somebody who loves Pavarotti, I want somebody who wants to eat out all the time or entertain or read highbrow books. There's no way on earth I could possibly go out with anybody who's not an intellectual. I couldn't possibly go out with somebody who doesn't share the same political views as me. I couldn't possibly go out with somebody who doesn't want to go out every weekend and put out flyers about the environment. Here's the thing. Whilst it's great that you can meet somebody who shares the same interests as you, if you don't have the common ground of one another and the relationship, i.e. if you don't want to be in the same relationship with one another, then you just don't have enough in common. I think it's also really important to recognise that whilst it's all well and good having common interests, they're not the be-all and the end-all. Really, relationships don't fail because you don't share all the same interests or a lot of the same interests. Relationships do, however, fail if you don't share similar values, or if you value totally different things. It can make you very incompatible, no matter how many interests that you share. Interests are really, they only give a little bit of an indication, but values give a lot of an indication about character and whether you really have somebody who you can share a life with and share a relationship with and progress into the future with. And the trouble is that we place far too much emphasis on this whole common interest thing, which means that we miss out on people who, whilst they may not want to, go and climb up a mountain next weekend with you, or share many of the same interests, they do actually hold similar values. At the end of the day, I've come across so many women who will have held on to a guy because it seems like on paper this person is near to perfect for them. But the reality is that they're good on paper, not so great in the flesh, because the relationship just isn't working. He's resisting being in a relationship. Maybe he's still living with his mum. Maybe he's cheating. Maybe he's just saying, you're not the one for me. And this is where people find it really confusing. How can I not be the one for him? We have so much in common. Here's the thing. What you think you have in common may not be what he thinks you have in common. What you value clearly isn't what he values. And if he doesn't value or place a high priority on the fact that you both share lots of the same interests, then it doesn't matter a damn. And so when you turn around and go, he says that we don't have anything in common, what the frick is he talking about? Of course we've got lots of things in common. Well, no, you are only looking at things from your perspective. If he's saying to you, look, I like you, I've had a lot of fun with you, but we just don't really have that much in common, you've kind of got to take him at his value, because or you've got to take him at what he's saying, because at the end of the day, whilst you may think that you have a lot in common, maybe you do, but the things that he really values, that he would like you to have in common, you don't share a common ground on those bases. It might even be simply coming down to the fact that you're just in totally different places. At the end of the day, a guy will say to himself, well, it's all well and good that, she wants to watch the football with me every weekend and, drink beers or hang out with my friends or, climb mountains, whatever it is. But if you're not vibing as people together and you clash and you don't have good relationship habits, and by that it could be both of you or one of you, but if one or both of you don't have good relationship habits, then the fact that you share common interests really is not going to help you at all. I think it's really important to not limit yourself either with this whole common interest, because I'll be real, I have obviously plenty of things in common with my partner, the boyf as I call him, but There's plenty of things that we don't have in common. And I always swore years ago when I was single, dating emotionally unavailable men and ass clowns, I will never go out with somebody who is crazy about sports. I've been out with a few people that they were crazy about sports, and I thought, oh my God, I couldn't stomach a guy who was into sports. The boy loves sports. Golf, cricket, darts, basketball, anything. He'd watch it if I let him, but he does still watch an awful lot of it. But the point is that our relationship has gone from strength to strength over the years. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference that he's into those things. He likes Battlestar Galactica. He likes Star Trek. I won't be caught dead watching those things. Is the relationship going to end over that? No, it doesn't make really any difference whatsoever. These things are nice to have, but they're almost surplus to requirements. Because, this emphasis, certainly as women as well, in particular, that we place in this interest. When I think about the fact that I like, for instance, to sew, well, my partner has absolutely no interest in sewing. Does that mean I disregard that? Or I also recall that in the past I've totally adjusted myself to take in their interest because I thought that was what I was supposed to do as the girlfriend. Now, I kind of sometimes take a vague interest in football. He supports Man United. And so sometimes I take a vague interest because it's his team and he's very, very passionate about it. And occasionally I might watch the odd sci-fi thing with him, but really it's not a big deal to me. I think the wonderful thing about not having every single last interest in common, or even a lot of them in common, is that it allows you to continue to both be individuals in your relationship. You have your own life, you have your own interests, your individual entities. It's not boring. You've actually got plenty to talk about. Probably plenty to bicker about as well. Don't overvalue these common interests. Open yourself up to meeting different people, because at the end of the day, I've talked to people all the time. They've been out with their near perfect person on paper, but the guy's cheating, beating, drinking, sex addiction, whatever. Do you still continue to hold on to them? No. At the end of the day, whatever it is that you think you have in common, if you don't share the common ground of mutual love, care, trust and respect, and wanting to be in the same relationship, it doesn't matter. You'll be in one relationship and he'll have his own version of what he thinks that relationship is. You may have a lot in common, but often it's just not enough.